You're about to witness something you've never witnessed before.
What they say they want, say they want. I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know.
They say they want, say they want, say they want. I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know what they say.
You say there's no romance without finance. Why we gotta do this dance? Why can't you just take a chance on my love? And I got a job, car in the driveway, not a Benz, but you can come my way, I'll take care of you. They say they want, say they want. Hey, I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know.
They say they want, say they want.
What they say they want.
I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know what they say. You're the kind of man looking for a younger brand. Haven't you learned by now that she won't stay around? But I'm the perfect boy. I'll share your hopes and dreams. I'll raise a family. I could be your destiny.
They say they want. I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know.
They say they want, say they want. They say they want. I don't even think they know.
So what's the deal? Are you gonna let me prove my love is real? I know you think I only want a cop or feel. I know you think I only want a heart to steal, and that's true. But baby, we don't have no beef, so just brush off your hurt. I'll be your concrete. I'll put in the work to your heart. I'll speak. You say you want a real man. I'm him who you seek. You want Mr. Right, but are you really ready? Do you always want to fight or throw a confetti? It doesn't really matter what he did either. I only want to please you, be your amnesia. Baby, let me ease your pain. So nothing remains but love to maintain. Cast the past off so we can blast off. Get on the floor and dance your ass off. Baby, then I'll take your pants off. I'm only serious.
I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know.
They say they want, say they want. I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know what they say.
See, I'm old enough to know what I want in a woman.
What they say.
I've been playing games for far too long.
What they say.
I know just what I want in a woman. She ain't gotta be a movie star, but she gotta take me farther than I've been before. They say they want, say they want, say they want. I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know.
They say they want, say they want. I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know what they say.
Okay, party people in the house. You're about to witness something you've never witnessed before.
What they say they want, say they want. I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know.
They say they want, say they want, say they want. I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know what they say.
You say there's no romance without finance. Why we gotta do this dance? Why can't you just take a chance on my love? And I got a job, car in the driveway, not a Benz, but you can come my way, I'll take care of you. They say they want, say they want. Hey, I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know.
They say they want, say they want.
What they say they want.
I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know what they say. You're the kind of man looking for a younger brand. Haven't you learned by now that she won't stay around? But I'm
prove my love is real. I know you think I only want a cop or feel. I know you think I only want a heart to steal, and that's true. But baby, we don't have no beef, so just brush off your hurt. I'll be your concrete. I'll put in the work to your heart. I'll speak. You say you want a real man. I'm him who you seek. You want Mr. Right, but are you really ready? Do you always want to fight or throw a confetti? It doesn't really matter what he did either. I only want to please you, be your amnesia. Baby, let me ease your pain. So nothing remains but love to maintain. Cast the past off so we can blast off. Get on the floor and dance your ass off. Then I'll take your pants off. I'm only serious.
I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know.
I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know what they say.
See, I'm old enough to know what I want in a woman.
What they say.
I've been playing games for far too long.
What they say.
I know just what I want in a woman. She ain't gotta be a movie star, but she gotta take me farther than I've been before. What they say they want, say they want, say they want. I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know.
They say they want. I don't even think they know. I don't even think they know what they say. What they say. What they say.
Hello and good evening, and welcome to another edition of A Queen's Eye View, the show that showcases the opinions and views of urban women with different backgrounds and perspectives. Normally I say alongside me is Heidi, Dawn, and Sayeri. Well, tonight it's just me. Later on, we're hoping that Heidi's going to call in. She's traveling for work, and Dawn as well. She's out entertaining, doing her job, and Sayeri also. So hopefully those ladies will call in. But tonight, you just got me. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. We have an awesome show for you this evening. We have this evening a special guest and co-host, Noelle Adams. How you doing, Noelle? Good, good. Well, I'd like you to do me a favor this evening. I'd like you to take out your cell phones, text your friends, and post on your social networking sites asking them to tune in and check us out. If you will, go to skycitymg.com/talk-radio. That's skycitymg.com/talk-radio. You can also call in with your questions, and we'll give you the phone number a little later on in the show. And also, don't forget to join our Facebook groups, Sky City Media Group and Jericho Broadcast Networks. That way, you can leave your comments and or questions. All right, so now we've got those things taken care of. Noelle, tell me, what was your week like?
Oh, I've had a very busy week this week. Let's see, I'll begin with the fact that I had to go to court to take care of that ticket.
Ooh.
Absolutely, you know, can't
What
play
kind of
with
ticket
that,
was that? Was that a speeding ticket?
No, it wasn't speeding. Let's just say there was a little opportunity, an area of opportunity when I was trying to go around a city bus.
Oh.
And a nice little police officer pulled me over. I think he was having a hard day. But I'm going to say that I was granted favor, and I have no points and no more ticket to worry about. Just paid the little coffee and kept it moving. So that was the first
hallelujah.
little thing. Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Jesus.
thank you, Jesus.
Hello.
Amen.
Yes.
Well, I needed some of that favor for the
okay.
ticket I had to pay. I
Man,
had points, and
man, see, that's terrible.
that was South Carolina.
Well, hey, there you have it. Let's see, and what else? Working with Reverend Dr. C.T. Vivian later on this week. I'm working on that documentary with him, so we are filming, and so I'm going to be doing that tomorrow.
Awesome.
And then lastly,
Wow, what's that about? Filming what? Can you share?
I absolutely can. It's a documentary based on justice and injustice.
Whoa, that's going to be awesome. That
It-
ties into our topic for this evening.
It certainly does.
Ooh.
So I will be working on that tomorrow. And then earlier in the week, it's been a very busy week for me.
This is exciting.
Yes. I was meeting with Missy Elliott, talking to her about one of the shows that I'm working on and trying to get her to be a judge on the show. And she's interested. So we'll see what that looks like. And there's some other people that I'm looking at trying to get on the show. So it's been a very, very busy week.
Awesome. So are you meeting with her, or you did meet with her already?
I did meet with her. I've
Awesome.
had several meetings with her. So we'll see what that looks like. She's working on her album. So, she's getting pretty busy.
Right. Did you wear one of those outfits she had on? Did you come out with one of her Missy Elliott?
No, but look, I'm trying to get in that closet, get some of those shoes, though, okay?
She looks fantastic also.
Yes, she does.
I mean,
she
wow.
looks really good.
What a transition through the years, from when she first started till now.
Absolutely. And she is still doing her thing. You guys would be surprised to hear the many different artists that she's been working with and producing tracks for. She's an awesome
fantastic.
person.
Yeah, she is.
Really is.
She has a dynamic portfolio. I mean, it's amazing when you look at artists, you wouldn't realize how many people they actually come in contact with. You just see them do one or two things, but behind the scenes, they really go deep. And she's one of those artists.
She is. She is very spiritually grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Very.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, sounds like you got more going on. I thought I had something special to share about my little week off, but I guess not.
Well, I didn't go to Mexico.
Yeah, well, you didn't. I did. And what a fantastic time I had. It was very relaxing. And the funny thing was, everyone kept asking, well, where are you going? I said, I'm not telling. Where are you going? I said, I'm not telling. And this is the first time ever I took one full week and I went away and I told no one.
Nice.
It was no cell phone. I didn't get international rates. I could care less. My thought process was, if something happens, there's nothing I can do about it.
Oh, that's a good thought.
I'm in Mexico.
Stress-free.
I just laid on the beach. I had a couple of non-alcoholic beverages, Pastor.
Mucho grande margarita.
Right, had some sun. Even got to see a crocodile.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Up close?
Very close.
Okay.
Right, but not close enough where I thought I was going to be dinner.
So you didn't bring home a belt?
No,
Okay.
right. Or shoes.
Right.
But it was really, really nice. So I did
Nice.
enjoy myself. So it was a
Excellent.
good week. It was a
Good.
good week.
Good.
But I did miss the radio last week. And I'm almost feeling like, because I was absent last week, my radio sisters kind of decided to take off this week.
They're trying to go to Mexico.
They might be there. They might be. But anyway, ladies, I do miss you. I do miss you. But call in if you get a chance. But this evening, we have a really dynamic show in store for you all. We're going to be talking about various topics that I believe are critical to our society and to us as just women, men, not just of black men and women. I think a lot of times we make things just as of a race issues. Do you agree?
I would definitely have to agree.
And a lot of times it is about that, but sometimes it's not. And I think tonight we're going to, explore that a little bit more.
Absolutely.
And I think you have something very powerful to share to that topic. So we're going to discuss that. We're going to talk about the voting, the primary election.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about judicial affirmative action. And we're going to have attorney Regina Nunnaly call in this evening, also criminal defense attorney.
Excellent.
To weigh in on some things, which I am so excited about that. And that's going to be in our first half of the show. And in the second half of the show, we're going to have a segment that I put together that I'm kind of excited about. So we're going to talk about that a little later on in the show. And we're going to go from there. So we're going to go to a break. And we ask that you stay with us. But again, get your friends to tune into SkyCityMG.com /talk radio. We'll be right back.
Are you in need of a dessert for a special event? Maybe a custom birthday cake. I know, it's your wedding day and you want a cake that will stimulate your taste buds and capture and create the memories for that special day. Well, Sweet Destination should be your choice. Let master sweet designer Montevia Gamble create a unique and delicious cake for your special occasion. But that's not all. Sweet Destination also creates other desserts, from cheesecakes, homemade fudge, brownies, cookies, pies, cake pops, cupcakes, and just about anything that you can think of. So check them out at sweetdestinations.com or on Facebook under Sweet Destinations. Remember, the greatest conversations take place on the road to the sweetest destinations of the human mind. So let's do more than business. Let's make memorable moments. We are Sweet Destinations.
Everyone needs a way to add gold to their financial portfolio. Carrot Bars International makes gold affordable to the masses with the freegoldplan.com. Get gold in 24-karat 999.9% pure gold bullion in small affordable weights. Save your money in gold. Free. Go to thefreegoldplan.com. That's thefreegoldplan.com now.
Tap Out Studios of Hollywood is one of Atlanta's newest visual and performing arts centers designed for you to perfect your creativity. Our 3,000 square foot event space includes a full bar, VIP, 2 stages. Take advantage of our Spring Fling package deal for new and existing clients. Save over 40% when you rent our venue for $700 for events with more than 100 people. For booking information, contact Kendra at 404-578-1454. Located less than a half a mile off of I-20 off Fulton Industrial, we are Tap Out Studios of Hollywood, 620 Interchange Drive. Tap Out Studios of Hollywood, inspiring creativity, changing lives, and making dreams come true.
New marketing campaign. I want to tell people how great my business is, but I don't know what to say. I need copy for the website, newsletters, and brochure, and I'm drawing a blank. Writing just isn't my thing.
My boss had the same problem, and he called Put It in Writing Professional Writing Service.
Put it in writing? What's that?
It's a business just for people who need copywriting, but don't have the budget for the big marketing and PR firms. They help my company tell everyone about the great products and services we offer through our website. And when my cousin recorded his CD, Put It in Writing wrote his bio and press release. They even do resumes.
That's good to know, because I'll be looking for a job if this business doesn't take off.
Put It in Writing at 901-359-6629. And check out the website at putitinwriting2.com. That's putitinwriting, the numeral 2.com.
Hello, and welcome back to A Queen's Eye View. I'm Shay, and I'm here with Noelle Adams. Hi, Noelle.
Hello.
Hi, welcome back, everyone. Well, I'm glad you're tuned in, and we were talking about, before we went to break, judicial affirmative action. And Noelle is here, and she's going to share a very personal story with us, and we're going to get ready to also have call-in attorney Regina Nunnaly, who's also going to weigh in on her take on this story that Noelle's about to share with us, a very personal story. So, Noelle, if you would, please go ahead and share with us your story. Right, so...
Okay, well, what I can do is give you guys the website, because the attorney is going to share some things with us, and then I'll get into the details of the story.
Awesome.
But the website address is www.justice, the number 4, justice4royjr.com. Again, that's justice4royjr.com. So as I begin to tell the story, you guys can look at the website and kind of follow along with some of the information that I'm going to share.
Awesome. And I'm sure that, the listeners out there, we all can relate to some injustice that has been done to either ourselves or a family member. We see it all the time on the news, the websites, that something is happening.
Absolutely.
And I think we definitely have to get a handle and a grip on it. And would you agree, Noelle? I was just thinking earlier, and I was having a conversation, in this day and age with technology, you have to be very careful as to what you do, because there's always a camera phone, an iPad, something pointing at your behavior.
You know what? I think it could be considered a good thing.
Absolutely.
Because in so many cases...
we have a call coming in. Hang on one second. Hello, caller? Hi, I'm sorry. Is that Attorney Regina Nunnaly?
This is Shay. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, this is Shay with Queen's Eye View. Thank you for calling in. Hi. And we also have Noelle Adams here.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to hear about you ladies on the radio doing your thing. So,
Thank you. Thank you for calling in. Can you give us a little bit of background about yourself?
Well, I'm born and raised in Daytona Beach, Florida, and I'm an assistant public defender. I've been with the office 11 years, and I handle felony cases, anything ranging from attempted murder on down to someone not returning their TV on time. So, yes, that is a felony. In the state of Florida, it can be. And so I've handled numerous trials and everything. So, and worked the court system and seen the ins and outs.
Awesome. And you said in Florida?
Yes, I do. Daytona Beach.
Wow, awesome. Florida, a lot of heat down in Florida lately.
Yeah, not basketball either.
Right. Awesome. Well, Noelle's going to share with us a personal story, and we definitely like your take on it after she shares with us.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, the story is about my brother Roy. He was driving home one morning, early in the morning, after leaving two different establishments. He had about 3 drinks over a 4 or 5 hour period of time. Mm-hmm. And as he was beginning to get to his exit, he just went out. He had no reference point, no anything. At any rate, to make a very long story short, what took place was during that period of time, he hit a parked car and a police officer standing on the highway giving someone else a ticket.
Wow.
His car came to a roll because it was a downward hill on the off ramp. So his car came to a roll and stopped.
Okay.
And when he came through, he noticed his airbag on the passenger side was deployed, and he got out of his car and saw the front of his car dented.
Right.
So he gathered his bearings and he called 911.
Right.
And he began to tell the operator that he think he hit something, and the operator is asking him, well, why do you think that? And he's like, my car is looking like it's looking. And so she tells him to just wait there for police, etc. And not only that, he described the surroundings of where he was. So he sat on the side of the road and waited for the police to get there, to arrive. So the first officer on the scene to him, and remember where his car came to a halt, and looking up the hill, he couldn't see anything, because from his vantage point, he is down a hill, he's looking around, and he doesn't know what's taking place behind him at all. So he's waiting there. The police officer gets there. The first officer on the scene was named Officer Ramsauer, a female white police officer. She then proceeds to ask him questions, and he's responding to her, and then her camera goes off. Her video and her camera goes off, because I've seen all of the tapes, and then they play different tapes in court.
So you mean her car? Her car
yes, it's
dash cam or something?
Yes, her dash cam is called an in-car video and audio device.
Okay.
It completely just off, right? So fast forwarding to probably within an hour or so before they tell him what's going on, he finds out that he is being charged for manslaughter. Well, not actually. They're charging him for a DUI first, and then after he gets to the police interrogation room, and he collapsed when they told him that, because he's like not understanding how this could have taken place.
Right.
So he's in the DUI interrogation room. Inside that room, there's a straight line and there's a box, and he's standing upright in the box, and the police officer is reading him his rights and reading this long document to him, and they're asking him if he's telling them no, he doesn't want to answer any questions. He wants representation, and he refuses again to do the walk in the straight line, and he refused to do that on the side of the road, which, by the way, is not against the law. You do not have to submit to the breathalyzer or that walking the straight line. It is your right to say no, because what we found out and been educated about is those things are very subjective.
Okay.
And even though you may not be intoxicated, I'm pigeon-toed, so it's hard for me to walk a straight line anyway.
Right.
But they can say that you are intoxicated. So at any rate, because there was a fatality, they could automatically draw his blood. So from there, he was taken to the hospital. They drew his blood. The nurse testified in court that she didn't smell any alcohol on him, which is not surprising because he wasn't drunk. The nurse said he was visibly upset and crying, because in a situation like that, most of us would be.
Absolutely.
Knowing that you are in some way associated with or responsible for someone losing their life.
Absolutely.
So from then, 2 weeks later, my dad had gone into, and this is taking place in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, if I didn't mention that. My dad flies in, and he's taking my brother to the ear, nose, throat doctor. While my brother is sitting in the doctor, he has a seizure. He's sitting there filling out the paperwork in the waiting room. He has an epileptic seizure.
Wow.
And it's witnessed by, nurses, doctors, etc. They called the ambulance, the whole nine. About a week or so later, my mom's friend, who has an adult child with epilepsy, gave my mom the name of the neurologist, and that neurologist is an expert. Gave her his name, and my brother went to that neurologist. So they did testing. That's how you find out. It's not like you could take a blood test and know you have epilepsy. They try to create a state in which they are able to determine whether or not you will have a seizure.
Correct.
He did seize. It's been documented that he has epilepsy. Even that neurologist testified at my brother's trial, and he said, based on all of his experience and knowledge, he feels that what caused my brother to have that accident was the fact that he had a petit mal seizure. That's why he didn't, when I asked him what happened, he thought that maybe he went to sleep. He fell asleep. But the thing about the difference between having a seizure and falling asleep, especially being in an accident, number one, the sound of that airbag deploying, it's very, very loud. That's number one. Number two, if your car hits another car, it's like falling out the bed. If you fall out the bed, you're going to wake up. So all of those things took place, and that just threw him being asleep out of the window. And the fact that he was able to articulate all of his information, and that was recorded, none of that mattered. So moving forward, and this took place in 2004. In June of 2004, he had this accident, this horrific accident that took the life of this officer. A year and a month later, in August of 2005, he was convicted of intoxication manslaughter. Now, this is a young man that never been in trouble.
Right.
He did all the things that, your parents tell you should do.
Wow.
We want you to go to college. We want you to graduate. We want you to get a job. We want you to be responsible. Did all of those things.
How old was he, if I could ask, at the time?
At the time, he was probably about 26.
Okay.
Yeah, right around 26. It will be 9 years, August 4th, and he has been sitting in jail. He was sentenced to 12 years and 3 months, I believe. But these are some things that we found out after the fact. Now, remember I mentioned while he was in the DUI interrogation room, he was standing in that box. Well, he was standing in that box. He made the sign of the cross. He was asking questions.
Wow.
When the police officer told him, I need you to read along with me while I read this to you, he was reading along with this police officer. He was raising his hand because he had questions. Those are things that when someone is inebriated to the degree that they said he was inebriated, because his blood work came back a 0.11. Now, I want everybody out there listening to Google BAC levels and read about the details and descriptions of those different points.
Right.
Because someone at a 0.11, number one, your blood the alcohol level in your blood starts to decrease over time.
Right.
So from the time that the blood was drew versus the time the accident happened and the time that he was standing in that box,
right,
his blood would have had to been higher than a 0.11. So someone with a 0.11, they aren't functional. They can barely walk. They slur. They aren't coherent and not able to go back and forth and think logical and have conversations. Correct. So, but this is the caveat. That prosecutor, his blood work should have gone to the state laboratory, but that prosecutor had it redirected to the medical examiner's office, his colleague's office. So they all work on the same team together.
Right.
Now, think about this. The Tarrant County Medical Examiner's Office, they only deal with deceased specimens.
Right.
They don't deal with live specimens. Really, that blood work could have been analyzed at the hospital. It could have gone to where it should have gone to.
So why did it go to?
Right. Why was it redirected? That's the first thing. Number two, the second thing, it wasn't until after my brother's conviction that my mom was reading the Dallas, I think it was the Fort Worth Star-Telegram or Dallas Morning News, one of those newspapers, that she read about a forensic videographer person. And this individual has done work for the FBI, prosecutors, for all types of people. They have absolutely nothing vested.
Right.
So my mom took the tape of that police officer that I mentioned that the video was cut off.
The female on site,
yes.
the first one.
And what he said that tape had been edited. Now we have been denied every appeal. We haven't gone to the state Supreme Court level because a Jewish attorney told my mother, you don't want to do that because those individuals that are sitting in those judge seats have been put there. And when you look at who and what put them there, those same individuals aren't going to do what's just and what's right. They're going to do what the good old boys want them to do.
Wow.
So right now where we are trying to, we're working with Reverend Dr. C.T. Vivian,
right,
civil rights activist and Presidential Medal of Freedom Award winner, to get my brother out, to get this story out.
9 years.
We are trying to work with the we're trying to penetrate the Department of Justice, because what needs to happen to make this wrong right really is the FBI needs to go in there, not the FBI in Dallas because they're all cronies, but the FBI on the federal level, out of D.C., and the Department of Justice needs to go in there and investigate, because we know that they did everything that they could do, because when what took place, when this accident took place, they saw him as being guilty, and they were going to make him be guilty. He was never innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
He was guilty until proven guilty.
Innocent.
And I'm going to
guilty for guilty.
Yes, and I'm going to give you another example of how wrong this is. There's another case, a young man by the name of Ethan Couch. I don't know if you guys remember this story, but let me catch you up to date. This young white teenager who had been in trouble before for drinking and driving and taking his father's vehicle,
right,
hit and killed 4 people, injured 3 people severely,
right,
and he got off on the affluenza defense.
Right.
Now let me break down affluenza.
Right.
Affluenza is, we're referencing affluence, as in because you have money.
Right.
I don't think it should be called affluenza. It should be called influenza.
Right.
Because his family not only had affluence, they have influence.
Say that.
And because
Say that.
brown people
Say
with
that.
affluence don't get off on affluenza.
Say that.
You have to have influence. And this young man got 10 years probation, and he had previous issues.
Right.
And let me tell you something else. The same prosecutor that prosecuted my brother is the same prosecutor that was on the case with Ethan Couch.
Are you serious? Wow. Now that's deep. Now that is deep. And I remember that story very well, because that wasn't so long ago.
No, it wasn't. It was
the end of last year.
It was December. End of November, first part of December, when that young man got 10 years probation. Affluenza.
Okay, well, wow, that's amazing. All righty, Attorney Regina, your thoughts on this?
Well, that's a mouthful, and that's common. I've seen, and this is just from my experience and what I've seen, and I've seen where an individual was drinking, and they got into a car accident, and their friend was injured, and that person wound up going to prison. The friend got injured. No one died. Right. He was injured.
Right.
And then I've seen a situation where an individual was African American man, had drank the night before, celebrating his wedding, and the next day he was up delivering food for a church function. And you know how sometimes when you're driving and sometimes you not run off the road, completely off the road, but sometimes you run off just a little bit and you try to correct yourself. And he overcorrected and went across the median and he hit head on with 2 individuals that were on a motorcycle. And they both were Caucasian. One died at the scene and one was injured.
Right.
Interesting enough, he got probation. He received probation. Now, he didn't go to trial. These 2 cases are more pleas. Anything, they didn't go to trial, was able to work it out. The difference, and the way I saw a difference, is that the other one was a Mexican individual, and he didn't have the monies or the resources really to, and I don't know much about his history, or whether he had DUIs before, because every case is different.
Right.
You don't know all the nuances of a case. You just know the facts. But I just saw the difference, and I said, here's a guy who didn't die, and this man goes to prison. Here's a situation where one died and one was injured, but he got probation. The difference was because he didn't have any history, because he was an older gentleman, had a family, and plus he was able to agree to pay the money to help with, because the widow was like, I need the money more than I did him going to prison.
Wow.
Then he wound up being put on probation, and he's doing really well now. So it's not uncommon to see disparities in the court system. Our court system is not foolproof. It does have its has its drawbacks at times.
Right.
And so it is a gamble, especially dealing with jury trials. It's a gamble because you have to try to pick a group of people to be, quote, quote, that would not be biased, that will listen to all the information, that and will render a verdict based on the facts and the evidence, not just how they feel.
Right.
And you'd be surprised. Juries like here in Florida.
Well, no.
I don't need to go into examples,
right.
but you people get not guilty. If you thinking, wow, I thought it was gonna come back with something like manslaughter or something, come back not guilty, and you thinking, good grief, what evidence were they listening to? It's just that it's a gamble. Right. And in that situation, I'm hearing about your brother.
Yes.
Brother, there was some issues that sounds like it could have brought reasonable doubt as to what really caused the accident. But anytime, and I don't care what anybody say, anytime you throw DUI in it, and the fact it was a police officer,
that's what
right. It's a police officer.
Right.
All right. He's on the side of the road doing his job, and when there's some alcohol found in the blood, and you have a police officer involved,
right.
I'm gonna keep it real. You're looking at somebody having to have to. Somebody gonna have to get punished.
Right.
Well, you know what?
That's what I was wondering.
There was a case. I can't remember exactly what state it was, but it took place during the same year that my brother had his accident, and it involved a young white male in his early 20s who was intoxicated, admitted that he was intoxicated, proved that he was intoxicated. He hit and killed a police officer, and he also got probation. So I think it's more than just the fact that there was a police officer involved. I think the fact that my brother was this young black man and this police officer was a young white man, they were going to do whatever they could do to make him guilty.
Okay, we're getting ready to take a break, but we ask you to stay with us, and we're going to come back with Attorney Regina Nunnaly and Noelle Adams. And if we could ask you, Attorney Regina Nunnaly, would you please hold for us? Because we want to come back, and we want to talk about affluenza or influenza. Which is it? Stay with us for a Queen's Eye View.
This has been a day I want to forget. From not finding my keys, to running late for my big meeting, then having the client cancel the meeting, to my boss wanting to revamp the entire proposal this weekend. This is really a day for a hot tub and a big glass of my tranquility wine.
The skilled winemakers of Countryside Vineyards craft quality muscadine grapes into fine wine. Known for their distinctive flavors and characters, these hybrid southern grapes create a sweet class of robust wine. So the next time you're out, ask for Tranquility Wines or order yours online today by visiting them at floridavineyard.com.
Now this is just what I needed. Tranquility Wine. Why can't everything be this relaxing?
Tranquility Wines, for those times when nothing else matters. Please enjoy responsibly, and remember, you must be 21 years old to drink. Are you in need of a dessert for a special event? Maybe a custom birthday cake. I know, it's your wedding day and you want a cake that will stimulate your taste buds and capture and create the memories for that special day. Well, Sweet Destination should be your choice. Let Master Sweet Designer Montevia Gamble create a unique and delicious cake for your special occasion. But that's not all. Sweet Destination also creates other desserts, from cheesecakes, homemade fudge, brownies, cookies, pies, cake pops, cupcakes, and just about anything that you can think of. So check them out at sweetdestinations.com or on Facebook under Sweet Destinations. Remember, the greatest conversations take place on the road to the sweetest destinations of the human mind. So let's do more than business. Let's make memorable moments. We are Sweet Destinations.
Honey, What are we going to do with all these bills? It doesn't make any sense. We make more than enough money to cover everything, but we're still in a hole.
Let's check out Madam Money.
Madam Money? Who is that?
She is a financial expert who helps people like us set and reach our financial goals.
This is great. With her help, we can do all the things that we talked about.
That's right. Now we can take that vacation we've always wanted and not feel stressed.
Hi, this is Tara Jackson, also known as Madam Money, and I can help you clear up all of your financial diseases and those pesky financial STDs.
See, this is why I love you.
Yes, I know.
So check out Madam Money online at tarajackson.com. TARRA Jackson.com. Tap Out Studios of Hollywood is one of Atlanta's newest visual and performing arts centers designed for you to perfect your creativity. Our 3,000 square foot event space includes a full bar, VIP section, movie screen, and 2 stages. Take advantage of our Spring Fling package deal for new and existing clients. Save over 40% when you rent our venue for $700 for events with more than 100 people. For booking information, contact Kendra at 404-578-1454. Located less than a half a mile off of I-20 off Fulton Industrial, we are Tap Out Studios of Hollywood, 620 Interchange Drive. Tap Out Studios of Hollywood, inspiring creativity, changing lives, and making dreams come true.
Hi, welcome back to A Queen's Eye View. We're here with Noelle Adams and attorney Regina Nunnaly, and we're talking about affluenza or influenza. And we're also going to have Heidi, my other radio sister, calling in shortly, so we'll be glad about that to have another view on it. But okay, we're going to go back to attorney Regina Nunnaly. You can go ahead and finish your point you were making earlier.
I don't know what the point was. That's funny. At this age, you kind of forget. But when I think about what I heard, the story is sad, and I hate to hear things like that because as a defense attorney, you try your best for your client, and you work very hard, and you hope for the best. And people say hope for the best, expect the worst. But in this particular situation, what I'm listening to, and I wasn't there, but it sounds like there was a blood draw done, and there's 2 types. You can do what they call a medical blood draw, which tends to be unreliable because if they swap with alcohol first and then draw your blood, then that could have an effect on the numbers as well. So I'm not sure which one was done here, whether it was done on the scene by the EMT,
right,
or by the but either way. It sounded like to me that there was evidence to show that there was other reasons for this to have occurred, not just dealing with the alcohol, because the issue here is was his faculties impaired. His normal faculties were impaired at the time of the incident, and that's hard to show because one, we don't know what was his normal faculties, so they look at what happened after the fact. And they look at what he did and how he was talking and everything and all that. And so I'm not too sure what evidence was presented, but as much I hear the prosecutor being involved, but everything that was presented deals with weight of the evidence. How much weight will the jury give the evidence that's presented? And if there's any issue about the blood draw or who did it, that was the defense job to try to create some doubt as to this blood draw is not reliable. They send it to the medical examiner and not to, that right there is suspicious because you're thinking, well, why not? Because here in the state of Florida, they don't send it to the medical examiner. The hospital does it, or they may send it off to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to their lab.
And see, and you know what?
Get it done. Some independent, not technically independent, but they're the ones that do all these blood draws and they do the tests of the, everything. And so that's unusual. That's something to bring up in the trial, and you pound that issue home with the jury, with the weight of the evidence. How much weight do you give to this? The testimony. How much weight you give to? But see, these kind of things are emotionally driven as well.
Right.
And
absolutely.
And as much as you believe that the jury does not be emotionally driven, they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They are emotional driven, and sometimes people get lost in the case because of emotion. Right. And if you play on emotion, which I suspect the prosecutor probably did, because I would.
Right.
Play on the emotion.
Right.
This man's on the side of the road and he's working hard, and here's this guy being irresponsible, riding along behind by his vehicle and all that. And the jury's not going to hear anything about his not, unless he's not a convicted felon. But a lot of the things that would be so relevant in trial would not come out. That's usually done in that sentencing.
Right.
And so when you have a situation where someone's found guilty of DUI manslaughter, and they go in front of the judge, and the judge has the power to sentence the person to whatever they feel is I don't want to say fair, because fair is an eye of the beholder.
Right.
Because sentencing is the other part of that. You got the trial, and you have the sentencing. You bring all the evidence in front of them. But when it's emotionally driven, and I've seen this, when you have victims sitting in the courtroom,
right,
looking at the judge,
right.
If the judge don't have the cojones to do the right thing, and I've seen judges do it.
Right.
I've seen judges say, this was an accident. The person didn't intend this. Even what the jury said, I've seen it where the person put on probation for, and I don't think DUI was involved, drink was involved, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they look at it for what it is. It's an accident. So a lot of it has to do with the judge as well. The judge, if they have an agenda, or the judge feels like I have to do this because I'm trying to make an example and all that,
right.
Or you see the family sitting looking at you in your face,
right.
Chances are the person is going to be made an example. And money does make a difference sometimes in the cases, because I use it to my advantage. If my client can come up with some money and get a better offer, we work on that.
Right.
So it does come into play in some circumstances, money, and but there's so much complexities involved, and I can't really put my finger on it. But but you have the evidence. The jury believe what they believed.
Right.
Then you have to fight with the judge.
Well, Attorney
and if the judge feels like somebody has to be made an example of, unfortunately, and you put everything out in front of them, then you do everything. You post-conviction relief. You try to do everything you can. You exhaust all your everything, habeas corpus, everything you try to do to try to set it right. So it's really complex. Our system, like I said, it's not the best system. It has its drawbacks.
Right.
And that's unfortunate. These things do happen.
Wow. Okay. Heidi, are you there?
I am.
Hey.
Good evening.
Hi. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome. I'm glad you're there. And we're talking with Noelle Adams, and we have attorney Regina Nunnaly on the phone, and we're talking about justice for Roy Jr. And I'm not sure if you've heard the story. Did you hear Noelle speak about her brother and what happened?
Actually, I did, and I just called in. What I missed.
Oh, okay. We're just talking about. Well, actually, I'll let Noelle just give you a brief rundown about what occurred with her brother back in 2004. Did you say it was?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, go ahead. You can just give her. That's Heidi.
He was involved. He had a seizure, a petit mal seizure, while driving home one early morning, and there was a police officer standing on the side of the road, and he hit the car and the police officer. Unfortunately, it was a horrific and tragic accident. The police officer lost his life. A year later, my brother was subsequently convicted of intoxication manslaughter. But there are a couple of things that I wanted to just kind of point out. You are absolutely right. The attorney was right when you have to consider all of the moving pieces and the dynamics of our judicial system. And unfortunately, I've learned a whole lot more than I ever thought I would need to know about our judicial system.
I'm sure.
And I can share with you this. In my brother's situation, I feel like there was collusion going on, and that's not a word that attorneys or judges like to hear, and I know how powerful of a word that is, but I'm gonna share with you why I feel that there was collusion going on. Number one, the video that I mentioned about the DUI interrogation room video,
right?
That you can see for yourself on Justice, the number 4, RoyJr.com. Please go out and look at the video for yourself. That video, and my brother had a defense attorney. Right. One of they have these lists of great defense attorneys, you know, the who's who of attorneys in the state of Texas, just like they do in every state. And he's one of those preferred attorneys.
Right.
He used to be a prosecuting attorney, so he knows these prosecutors, the ones that did what they did to my brother.
Right.
This attorney that we hired for my brother's case, he showed the tape to the practice jury, because we did have a mock jury before the trial, because he wanted the jury to see the evidence that he would be presenting. And that mock jury saw that video, and they told him they wouldn't convict based upon them seeing that video, because you can see that this young man is articulate, is coherent, and is not drunk.
Right.
You can see all of those things. Do you know this attorney chose not to show that video in court?
Were you privileged to see this mock trial or this
no,
jury?
My parents
saw
that.
What was his reasoning?
He said
did he do like, cause some, you know, did he do evidentiary hearings where, you know, the motion to try to get something in, was it knocked out? He just
no.
I don't understand that.
Let me tell you, this evidence. No, this is evidence that he could have used. And I'm gonna tell you something else. When we were in court, and the prosecuting attorney showed the video of the officer getting hit over and over and over and over again, I said to the attorney, I said, why don't you show the tape where my brother is standing in that box, making the sign of the cross, asking questions and talking? Why don't you show that tape? You know what he told me? He said, I chose not to. That was his reasoning. That's why you can't tell me there wasn't collusion involved. Number one, you talk about blood evidence and where it's supposed to get tested. It was supposed to go to the state lab, just like you said what takes place in Florida. That's supposed to take place in Texas. But instead, he sent it to the medical examiner's lab, which is his colleague's lab, which is also a lab that's not certified. Let me break that down for you. When a lab is not certified, this lab failed certification 3 times on critical violations. A critical violation, an example of that would be not having locks on areas
to secure them, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
It is no guarantee that specimen was not messed with. And I know it was messed with, because it's no way that you can have both. You can't say someone is a .11, but yet they're walking, sitting, and talking like you and I are doing right now.
Right, and that just speaks to what attorney Regina said, that emotions, if they play that video over and over of that police officer being hit, that's, you know, speaking to the emotions, that's just constantly. Yes. That's all that they see, that cop being hurt, you know, and just seeing that, and that's playing on their emotions, just like she said.
And I'm going to tell you, a .11, my brother was drinking Crown on the rocks. To have a .11 drinking Crown on the rocks, you would need to have about 17 shots.
Wow.
Their doctor said that, because because we had 2 different defense attorneys. One defense attorney is a DUI. That's his specialty.
Right.
And then the lead defense attorney, which is the one that chose not to show the videotape.
Right.
I feel like that lead attorney, perhaps he didn't represent my brother to the best of his ability, because he owed favors. He had relationships that he had to maintain.
Wow.
But this guy was local?
Yeah, he was local. Go to the
rule of thumb that you go outside of that, you know.
Yeah, right.
If we had we known, but again, that whole hindsight being 2020, had we known, we would have gone outside and got an attorney and partnered them with the local DUI attorney, and we would have won this case because all of the real evidence would have been presented.
Let me ask you, did your family live in Texas at the time, or was it just your brother living there?
My mom lives in Texas.
Wow.
I'm floored because
I'm speechless.
The video, now that's sophisticated. Now, I guess I'm a state employee. You don't have the sophistication to put on a mock trial, and generally that helps you gauge how, the actual trial may go. But I'm floored by the fact he would not show the video, and I'm floored by the fact they played the video over and over and over of the man getting hit, because right there I would have been objecting.
Now,
something I would have made quite known that, okay, this is you're basically trying to inflame the sensitivities of the jury.
Absolutely.
And object to that. I mean, they don't have to see this over and over. There are certain people show pictures, and there are ways to try to limit the impact of what evidence the state does try to bring out, because they played on the emotions of the jury.
Yes, they do.
Over and over again on that level. So I'm surprised. I'm surprised that was not even
the defense attorney,
or even that, and then when listen to the blood work, there are issues where the defense attorney can get the actual sample tested on with their own expert, and I've seen that happen where it's not reliable. Like they may have kept the blood in an area where it wasn't refrigerated or whatnot, so that can skew the numbers. That'll bring it. So let's take the sample and have somebody else test it. He didn't do that either.
Well, this is the thing. The blood work was tested after the fact, but it's like this. If we're testing tainted blood, then we're going to get the same results that they got to get the results. So it's kind of right now. We just really have to get the public outcry, and we really have to get the FBI involved, because I feel like they have the ability to get to the bottom of things. And because we know, going back to that videotape about the whole, the officer's videotape being cut off, well, she said she cut her tape off due to muscle memory. That's what she testified in court. Now, Michael Jordan has muscle memory with his jump shot. It was not even an hour. Memory. Yeah, muscle memory. Not even an hour before she pulled or came to my brother and cut her, like she said, cut her tape off. She was on a scene of something else, and she left her tape on. Now, remember, I told you the videographer was able to determine that she didn't cut her tape off. That tape had been altered. But even with that knowledge,
and it had been shared in court. That was shared in open court.
No, that wasn't. It was after the fact, after his conviction. Even after the conviction, and us going back trying to file the appeal, it was still denied.
So he's been in jail for 9 years of a 12-year, 3-month sentence.
Yes, it'll be 9 years in this August. And you know why he's still in jail? Is because he refuses to say that he was driving intoxicated.
So if he said he was intoxicated, he could have been out of jail.
Yes, they would. You know why they would have let him out? Because then they could no longer be held accountable for all their lies.
Right, because now he's going to keep, that I'm innocent, I was not intoxicated. So if there are any punitive damages or any chance that he could sue, or
not only him suing, but them going to jail for perjury. That officer, once the dirt gets swept from under the rug, she is going to be held accountable for perjury because she did not turn her camera off. Her tape was altered. It was edited.
9 years. Wow.
Hey, this is Heidi. I just wanted to throw a comment in because part of my business is to work with the court system, and I've been working in the courts for the last 12 years, testifying as an expert. I just wanted to ask a question to the young lady who was talking about her brother. When you said that the tape was altered, did they say that the tape had been redacted on the record? I'm just curious, did they use that language?
I'm sorry, say what?
Did they say during the trial that before the judge when they were presenting the evidence that the tape, the video recording of your brother during his interrogation or whatnot had been redacted? I'm just asking.
No.
Did they use that terminology?
No, not at all. The tape, the videotape of the DUI interrogation room was never even introduced in the trial, although it was considered evidence.
Wow.
All of the videotapes, the in-car videotapes from that morning, the early morning of the accident, we had access to. We saw them before trial. The prosecutor side had them. We had copies of them, but my brother's defense attorney chose not to show that tape in court.
So which tape is it that you're saying that which one is it you're saying that they altered? I guess is my question.
Yes, that's a different tape. The tape that was altered is the first officer to the scene of my brother. The first officer to approach him, she said in court, she testified that she cut off her in-car audio and video due to muscle memory. Now, during the time, we didn't know that the tape had been edited. We didn't have concrete proof that the tape had been edited. I saw the tape and I asked both my parents about that tape because something seemed odd to me. I saw it go from nighttime and then daytime, and it was another time. But my expertise isn't, forensic videography. I didn't know to dig further.
Right, and I guess Heidi was asking, did what was the exact words that was used about the tape? Was that even brought up, or that wasn't even entered into the court?
That was used as evidence, but it was used as evidence from the prosecutor side just to, they just played that when that police officer testified that,
she had muscles.
Well, he said that he was, I can't remember the exact terminology, but that he was drunk, or that he said he was drunk, or something like that. And what she said did not even sound like something my brother would say. So I knew from what she was saying, she was lying.
So who said that the tape was
altered? The forensic videographer who later on examined the tape said, based on his many years of experience, and you can also find his document, his affidavit online on our website, where he has broken it down that in his 20 plus years of experience, he is saying that tape, it wasn't cut off like she says she did. It was altered.
Now, did the judge hear that? Nobody heard that part.
No one heard that part. We tried to present that when we were trying to file the appeals, and the appeals were denied.
Attorney Regina, is there any way that she can get an appeal based on that information that she has?
Well, the reason why I'm sorry. The reason why I brought it up, because let me just bring out 2 points, because I testify as an expert in trials all the time. The prosecution has the right to redact anything off of any of videotapes, since I work with a lot of child abuse cases as well as cases where adults have been involved. They have the right, and it's legal for them to redact, which is what you would consider altering a tape. But the thing about it is the defense and the prosecution have to be in agreement, and the judge and that information has to be presented for the judge, and the judge is aware that the tape has been redacted. And so what they usually do is they have the jury step out, and once the jury steps out, then they discuss it amongst the lawyers in front of the judges, and the plaintiff and the defendant can remain in the courtroom while that conversation is going on. That's legal. But prosecution always has the right to alter something, just like when police are in an interrogation room, they have the right to say anything they want to, whether it's made up or a lie. That is completely legal, to someone they're trying to interrogate. So I was just curious about the terminology that they used when you were in court, because it seems to me when you said they were in collusion, that's not necessarily so far from fetched, because of the fact that prosecutors and defense attorneys make deals all the time, and they a lot of times make deals, put them on the record, and the judge agrees to them before the jury even comes into the room. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true. That's right.
Yeah.
I've had those cases where, we have audio or some interrogation and all that, and we sit down, both of us, me and the prosecutor, we sit down, listen, and we will agree which part we don't want in, especially if it's something that's going to hurt my client.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Right. So, we will go through it, and they will redact it, and we'll listen to it and all, and then this is the finished product, and then we'll present it to the court and say that both of us have stipulated to this coming in, and as evidence, and so that's usually handled before the court, but it sounds like to me this information came out after the fact, and we use the word appeal very loosely, and here in the state of Florida, you have actually like one shot, kind of a one-shot deal when it comes to appeals, and then you have what you call you want them to either rehear the appeal, but instead of Florida, we have post-conviction release, where the person file what they call a 3850 or 3800, and they try to bring in maybe newly discovered evidence, something that was not found during the time of the trial, during the time of the discovery, because discovery is all the information that you get from the state.
Right.
And sometimes you still have to keep on the state to make sure you got all the information that you need
right.
in the case. And so it's newly discovered evidence. They usually do something after that, and then you just, and some orders can be appealed, some cannot. If it's discretionary for the judge, you can't appeal it. So. It sounds like you're doing everything that you can. You're just running the roadblocks.
Yes.
You're doing the paperwork. You're trying to put it in front of the judge, and sometimes you have to try to keep going. And then, like I said, Texas is maybe a little different because I can't say, but I know over here what we do, and so you try to exhaust everything you can, and to try to bring about the just result. Unfortunately, 9 years.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
It is.
A long time.
And you're absolutely right. We're doing everything we can possibly do. Every first Monday of the month, my mom does her one-woman protest in front of the Tarrant County Courthouse, where she's out there with her sign.
God bless her.
Affluenza versus seizure. And she's passing out information. We've exhausted almost all of the appeals. We've been denied 3 appeals, and the other option, or the last option, would be to go to the state. And for Texas, that's in Louisiana. That when you go to the Supreme Court, you try to appeal it to the Supreme Court, would be Louisiana. And as I mentioned before, a Jewish attorney, a very honorable and honest gentleman, told my mom that going that route probably wouldn't provide the best outcome for us, because those individuals have been handpicked and they're placed in those positions, and they are usually going to decide and be swayed based on the individuals that put them in those positions.
Right. Okay.
And as we all know, 1 in every 3 young black men are going to go to jail in their lifetime. We only make up 30% of the population. Us brown people make up 30% of the population, but 60% of us are incarcerated. We have 60% of the individuals in jail are brown and black. So clearly there are some inconsistencies with the judicial system. And in my brother's case, he was never set up to win. From his defense attorney choosing not to show the very critical tape of him standing in the DUI interrogation room, from us not pushing harder and him not doing his job to the best of his ability. Just recently, this last time, the first Monday in May, my mom was out there, and she told me she saw the the defense attorney that we hired, and she said if my mom told me if she would have acted like she was gonna run toward him, he would have take off running. He walked so fast, so hard down the side.
He still knows who she is. Absolutely.
Yeah, not only does he still knows who she is, he's guilty. He knows he did wrong. That's why he was trying to go the other direction. Because when you haven't done wrong, you have no reason to run.
Exactly. I'd have ran up on him I would have ran up like I was gonna give him a hug or something.
And I'm gonna give you.
Hey you.
Okay. Look, another little funny story. That prosecutor. It's very odd that when a reporter approached him to ask him about my brother's case, he acted like he couldn't remember the case. He knows the case because when he seen my mom down there in front of the courthouse, he was looking like, he just saw a ghost. My mom waved at him and he waved back. He knows her. And he's going to really get shocked when he sees that billboard that we're putting up with his information on it.
Girl, say that.
Wow.
And how long has your mom been doing this for every Monday?
My mother has been doing this since January. But we have been working diligently to get my brother free since the day he was convicted.
Oh, I believe it. There's nothing like a mother's love and a mother's dedication. I'm telling you. We'll go to the ends of the earth.
How is your brother doing though? How is he holding up though?
You know
How
what?
is he doing?
That's what I was gonna ask.
He is an awesome young man, and I am so proud of him. He has spent the last part of his 20s and the first part of his 30s incarcerated, but he has his days where he's like, Lord, when am I going to get free? You know what I mean? Why is it that I'm here? And what we stand on and what we believe is that he's making a difference where he is, because there's a lot of young brothers that have been victims of our society, of our educational system, of our judicial system, of bad parenting, that didn't have role models. And while he's in there, he is imparting knowledge. My brother is an avid reader. He's a really good dude. He's like the guy that you would love. He can be your nephew. He can be your brother. He can be your son.
Right.
He's that guy. He's the guy that his friends would call him when they were messed up and be like, "Man, come get me." He would be that guy to come pick them up. So when he got convicted, they like, man, my cousins, his friends, our family, just people, period, like, what? This couldn't be real, because he's not going to be responsible. He's not that guy.
But I have to say that just from meeting you and just today and just listening to you and just seeing your walk and your faith and just hearing how your mom and your dad and your family, that he comes from substance, and that
thank you.
That if he has just any bit of what you have and what you've shown today, and that faithfulness and that trust in God and the God of your understanding, that I know it is he who holds you up and holds your mom up and your dad up. And if he has been able to endure for those 9 years and trust and lean not to his own understanding but in the God that he knows, then I'm convicted, and I know that this is going to work out for his good. And that even though if he has made it through that first part of that, and see, I can't speak to it because I've never been in jail, and I just trust and hope to God I never have to go, but I will never say never.
Right.
Okay, but that he has been able to endure those 9 years, and he still stays positive, and he still presses through, and he gives you and your mom and your dad and everyone else hope.
Yes.
That I know that it's going to work out for his good.
Yes.
And you tell him that we're praying for him, and we'll join this movement for him,
Thank
and we'll
you.
go on to Justice for the number 4 RoyJr.com.
Yes.
And we're pulling for him, and I
Thank
know
you.
this is going to work out for his good.
Thank you.
I know it
so
is.
appreciate that.
I know it is.
And you can sign our
Hey,
petition.
Shay, this is Hardy. I have one really quick question for her before she goes. I know you got to go to break, but is your brother receiving seizure medication while he's been incarcerated? I'm just curious.
Oh, that's an excellent question. Let me share this with you. After he was convicted and we were still in court, the prosecutor brought in someone from the medical staff from the penitentiary system,
right?
And they were speaking on how great the medical and he could get medical assistance while he was there
during the sentencing.
yes. Well, let me just share this with you guys. He started out receiving medicine, and then they stopped giving it to him.
Okay, they stopped giving it to him. That's against the law. That's why I'm asking you. Because actually, when you make your appeal, the fact that he has had to have seizure prescriptions in the first place,
yes,
should give your appeal more credibility. My husband has a seizure disorder. That's the reason why I asked you the quick question. And the only other thing I wanted to bring up about the seizure piece is, once you have a seizure and you're driving, you're not supposed to drive X amount of time once you have one,
right.
After it is occurred.
Yeah.
That's actually on our law books.
Yes, it is.
Everybody doesn't necessarily, follow that. Everybody isn't on their medication either. But if they have been consistently giving him medication, or is there documentation of that, that's something you definitely should bring up in your appeal. Because that would just go to your credibility of your brother. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. I agree. Thank you for that information.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Will you ladies be able to hold on for just a second? We're going to go to break.
All right.
Heidi and attorney Regina Nunnaly, thank you so much. If you guys will stay with us, a Queen's Eye View will be back in just a moment. We'll be coming back with Noelle Adams, attorney Regina Nunnaly, myself, Shay, and Heidi. Thank you.
This has been a day I want to forget. From not finding my keys, to running late for my big meeting, then having the client cancel the meeting, to my boss wanting to revamp the entire proposal this weekend. This is really a day for a hot tub and a big glass of my tranquility wine.
The skilled winemakers of Countryside Vineyards craft quality muscadine grapes into fine wine. Known for their distinctive flavors and characters, these hybrid southern grapes create a sweet class of robust wine. So the next time you're out, ask for Tranquility Wines or order yours online today by visiting them at floridavineyard.com.
Now this is just what I needed. Tranquility Wine. Why can't everything be this relaxing?
Tranquility Wines, for those times when nothing else matters. Please enjoy responsibly, and remember, you must be 21 years old to drink. Are you in need of a dessert for a special event? Maybe a custom birthday cake. I know, it's your wedding day and you want a cake that will stimulate your taste buds and capture and create the memories for that special day. Well, Sweet Destination should be your choice. Let Master Sweet Designer Montevia Gamble create a unique and delicious cake for your special occasion. But that's not all. Sweet Destination also creates other desserts, from cheesecakes, homemade fudge, brownies, cookies, pies, cake pops, cupcakes, and just about anything that you can think of. So check them out at sweetdestinations.com or on Facebook under Sweet Destinations. Remember, the greatest conversations take place on the road to the sweetest destinations of the human mind. So let's do more than business. Let's make memorable moments. We are Sweet Destinations.
Honey, what are we going to do with all these bills? It doesn't make any sense. We make more than enough money to cover everything, but we're still in a hole.
Let's check out Madam Money.
Madam Money? Who is that?
She is a financial expert who helps people like us set and reach our financial goals.
This is great. With her help, we can do all the things that we talked about.
That's right. Now we can take that vacation we've always wanted and not feel stressed.
Hi, this is Tara Jackson, also known as Madam Money, and I can help you clear up all of your financial diseases and those pesky financial STDs.
See, this is why I love you.
Yes, I know.
So check out Madam Money online at tarajackson.com. TARRA Jackson.com. Tap Out Studios of Hollywood is one of Atlanta's newest visual and performing arts centers designed for you to perfect your creativity. Our 3,000 square foot event space includes a full bar, VIP section, movie screen, and 2 stages. Take advantage of our Spring Fling package deal for new and existing clients. Save over 40% when you rent our venue for $700 for events with more than 100 people. For booking information, contact Kendra at 404-578-1454. Located less than a half a mile off of I-20 off Fulton Industrial, we are Tap Out Studios of Hollywood, 620 Interchange Drive. Tap Out Studios of Hollywood, inspiring creativity, changing lives, and making dreams come true.
Hi, and welcome back to A Queen's Eye View. We're here with Noelle Adams, attorney Regina Nunnaly, Heidi, and myself, Shay, and we're talking about judicial affirmative actions, affluenza versus influenza. And we're coming back with Noelle, and she's going to make a comment that we were talking about on the break. Noelle, go ahead and make that comment that we were just discussing.
Certainly. I just wanted to share with everyone, when going through the appeal process in the Tarrant County system, the appeal information goes back through the same judge that presided over the case. So it makes things very challenging and somewhat impossible to receive justice. And one other thing that I like to share with you, something that I end a lot of the letters or even the cards I send my brother, I always tell him the cavalry is coming. So I'm hoping everyone listening will go to justice4royjr.com. Please sign our petition. Please tell your friends and ask your friends to tell their friends, because this is another young brother that should not be incarcerated, but for whatever reason, whatever his purpose and God's purpose for him has been, he's had to take this journey. And you know, I want God to do what God needs to do and have him do. But Lord knows I would like to have my brother home. You know?
Amen. Oh, absolutely. 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 In closing to this, I want to ask you, you know, Heidi and attorney Regina, if you guys could make some comments and some suggestions that can help Noelle and her family on her journey as to what steps she could take, or just some words of encouragement that you guys could offer her.
Well, I have to say that the fact that you come this far by faith in itself is a testament of your determination to seek justice for your brother. And all I can tell you to do is keep doing what you're doing until something happens. Okay? And you don't know how close you are to it, and giving up right now, you'll never know.
Right.
But keep doing what you're doing, and keep God focused in this, because there's a lot of things you don't understand why they happen. We say, God, why?
Right.
Why?
Right.
What the heck is on? Why? You know, and we never understand it, but that's why it's a faith walk, and I'm glad to hear your brother, while in there, he is trying to be a light that's in there, and we just don't know. We just don't know what the end is really going to be, but keep doing what you're doing. Keep focusing on the process, and until something happens. That's all I can truly tell you, and don't give up. Because that word said all things work for good for those who love the Lord. And it said all things going to feel good.
Right. That's right.
They all going to work for good.
Amen. That's right.
For those who love the Lord and are called according to His purpose.
Yes.
I got to stand on myself every day. You got to stand on that, because if it wasn't you, it'd be somebody else.
Right.
That's right.
And then you can encourage somebody else when they go through. You know the process, and then whatever mistakes or whatever situations you saw, then you can tell the other person, see, you know what, we did this, but this is how you should do it.
That's right.
You know, you go around this part, you do this procedure, and you could be able to help somebody else when they go through the situation. So I keep y'all lifted up in my prayers. Absolutely. Keep doing what you're doing, and stay into the fight, because the race is not given to the swift nor to the strong, but the one who do it to the end.
Say that.
Yes.
Awesome,
Thank you so much.
Words. Heidi, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I was just thinking about what she was saying. You know, I ditto all of that she said, but I just wanted to make a point, because, you know, it's interesting when you work inside the business, which is really, I work in the legal system a great deal, and I testify a great deal. one of the things that I noticed is that the people that don't tend to get as much justice is always because of lack of knowledge, as well as, also lack of funding in terms of resources. So I encourage you guys to continue the process on their terms, but
Okay, we've lost Heidi here. Her phone has gone out, and we'll just ask that she calls back in because we lost her totally. But Heidi was saying that she just wants you to fight the good fight, stay encouraged, don't give up. My sentiments exactly with both of what they said, Attorney Regina Nunnaly and Heidi as well. Just stay the course, and you're just on the other side of your breakthrough.
Absolutely.
And I truly believe that.
And I receive that.
And when two or more agree,
amen.
It is done.
It is done.
It is done. It is done. Wow. So, callers, we didn't give you a chance to call in tonight, and I'm sorry. We were a little selfish here. We got so wrapped up in it. But I'm going to give the number. It's 678-701-3738. 678-701-3738. If you'd like to call in and comment or just give some words of encouragement to Noelle and her family, please do call in and do that. Again, 678-701-3738. Well, I'm going to go into a little something that I did, and it's for a segment that I'm going to be hosting every other week or as we see fit when my other ladies come back. I do miss you, Dawn, Michelle, Sayeri, and Heidi. But it's called Did You Know? And it's funny how when you start looking into things, how much you truly don't know. I think we as individuals tend to think that we know a lot. I know I do. What about you, Noelle?
All the time.
I've been accused of thinking I know too much. When I realize actually how little I do know. But I'm going to ask you, Noelle, did you know that the locations with the largest percentage of black residents is in the South?
I'm not surprised.
Right.
Because number one, when you think about it, just historically, this is where we were. We were in the South.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of us, our families migrated up north. And surprisingly enough, a lot of those up north folks that have, been successful, made money, are now migrating back to the South because of the warm weather.
Well, I guess Noelle did know because she hit that on the head, because it says the District of Columbia, there's 51.6% of blacks are there and 38% Mississippi. But the largest total number of black residents is in New York City at 3.7 million. So I guess Noelle did know. But there's no prizes for getting the answers right, though. There's no prizes tonight. But it's also, I found, but I knew this more or less, but I didn't know the number. But the median black household income is 59% of what the median white household income is based on 2011.
Wow. Now
59% of what the median white household is.
Wow.
Now, I knew that our household was less than those of the lighter hue, but I didn't realize that it was that much difference.
Wow.
And that's just based on, 2011. So that's not even that long ago.
Wow.
And then actually the African American is pretty much the lowest, even under the Hispanics, the white and Asian. And I'm not really surprised at that, because the Hispanics, they pull together their money.
Yes, they do. Asians do too.
Oh, absolutely. They're at the top.
Yes.
The Asians. I understand that these numbers come from the Census Bureau, and that's only what you report and how you report it. But it's based from 1967 up until 2011, where our income for the black household was $20,000. And from 1967 to 2011, it's only grown to about $39,760.
And that's because most of our people are consumers versus producers.
Okay, you can say that again, because we'd rather have our stuff either under our feet as far as sneakers or behind the wheel.
Yes.
Rather than investing or a home. We want it on our backs.
Well, did you know this? And I found this out from lots of Asian people that I've kind of met along the way in my journey, that they will all live in the household of the matriarch,
Right.
and you know the both parents,
Right.
Everyone will stay there.
Yes.
And as they graduate or get married, they transition from their parents' house to their own house.
Right.
Did you know that?
Yes, and did you know that they take their parents with them because the parents then watch their children so they don't have to pay for daycare? And therefore, they become the caregivers of their parents while their parents take care of their children. So they save that money, and then it's just a cycle. So therefore, once their parents pass on, their children grow up, their
They do
children
the
take
same
care of
thing.
them. And it's funny because we, as African Americans, blacks, or however you want to word it, we can't wait to get out of our parents' house. We
Usually.
can't wait to get rid of our children. I'm kind
Usually.
of guilty of that because between my son and I, he wanted to be emancipated at 14.
You should have let them.
Oh, he went down to the Gwinnett County Courthouse.
Oh, that's great.
But that's a story for another show.
Oh, I can't wait to hear.
Oh, but even at that age, and he's now going to be 22 actually next Sunday. And
congratulations.
Yes. And he's very smart young man. And we kind of want to get rid of each other. But it's very funny when you see the cultures. You know,
Yes,
how different it is.
they are, yes.
And that's why when you look at what we make and what we have versus what others have, I don't believe that we can blame others all the time for
No,
our situation.
Absolutely.
You know,
The
but again,
accountability starts.
that's another
here.
topic for another show.
day. Okay.
Right. And I hope you'll come back and share with us on that one.
I certainly will.
But those are interesting facts that, you know, I didn't really know. But also, did you know the leading cause of death for African Americans?
Let me see. Is it hypertension?
Yes, that's one of them.
Cancer?
Yes. I think Noelle's been looking through my notes over here.
I can't see that well. What else? Diabetes? Stroke?
Diabetes.
What else?
But murder, actually homicide is, but it's not in the top 5.
No, it's very
And see,
low.
that's the thing. See, that's the thing. People would think.
Perception.
Exactly.
Yes.
Perception is the reality.
Yes.
It's actually unintentional injuries, just accidents.
Oh, wow.
You know, motor vehicles.
Wow.
Just fluke accidents.
Right. Just accidents. Okay.
Right. Kidney disease.
Wow.
Chronic lower respiratory diseases. Septicemia. Infections.
Wow. Well, that goes back to that whole healthcare thing.
Right. And it's no longer the older people. You remember hypertension and heart disease used to be, 75 and 80 years old. Now it's hitting people 30 and 40 years old.
Yes.
But what causes that? Our eating habits.
Oh, absolutely.
Lack of
Obesity.
exercise.
Absolutely.
Obesity.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that starts from young.
Obesity should probably be number 1 because all of those other things come out of that obesity category.
Absolutely. Lack of activity.
Yeah.
Get moving. Start to do things.
Yes.
And that all ties into that. And I think that we as black women, black men, and even with our youth, we need to start doing that. Because you notice that there are others on the weekends, they're out doing those, they're running, they're doing the 5Ks, the 10Ks. Somebody asked me to do a 5K. I say, do what? We're somewhere eating.
Right, you mean KFC?
Right, KFC, right. Waffle K House. And I just think that we have to do better.
We do. We have to change. We have to change what's important to us because for us, when we celebrate, it usually involves food and drinking.
Absolutely, and the wrong types of food and the wrong types of beverages.
Yes.
If we had water, salad,
yes.
we can have drinks, but
Yes.
in moderation.
Absolutely.
Everything in moderation.
Yes.
And I don't think that we always know how to do that.
No, we don't.
We got in this new thing with turn up. Who came up with that?
I don't know, but
And who is Lil Jon? See, I'm not that well versed on.
Why?
I'm sorry. I
Why
couldn't
are
pick
we
out Little
turning-
John
we're
from Lil
turning
Wayne.
Up what? Are we turn? Because everything that you turn
up.
Think about this. Everything that you turn
it
up,
down.
number 1, there's some type of repercussions behind being turned up. Because when the volume is up too loud on your
Hello?
speaker system,
Come on
you
now.
go deaf.
Say it.
So we need to turn down some.
Say that.
Maybe somebody need to come up with the turn down song.
Right, exactly. And I think, just as these people are influences as turning up, can't we get some positive influences? Take some other things. But I found a couple other things I just wanted to share before we go into the next segment. There, I found some interesting thing about black scientists and inventors. We talk about people who invented this and invented that, but did you know that we have born? It's called Philip. I'm going to mispronounce his last name. And I don't think he may still be alive, so he might actually know this. But Imagwali, he was born in Nigeria in 1954. He was a determination to succeed grew out of a life of poverty and a little formal education. An expert in mathematics, physics, and astronomy, he won the Institute of Electronics and Electrical Engineers Gordon Bell Prize in 1989 for an experiment that used 65,000 processors to perform the world's fastest computation of 3.1 billion calculations per second. His computers are currently being used to forecast the weather and predict future global warming.
Wow. That's
I
awesome.
I didn't know that.
I have a interesting fact about a African American inventor.
Well, what is that?
Did you know Lonnie Johnson is the inventor of the Super Soaker? He is a African American male. He graduated from Tuskegee Institute. He also has a master's degree in something really sophisticated, and he used to work for NASA. I mean, this guy is the business, and he lives right here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow. Well, that is awesome. And he lives and he lives here, you said?
Yes, he lives here in Atlanta.
And the Super Soaker.
Yes, that Super Soaker made Mattel a whole lot of money.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of money on that.
Lawsuit.
I spent a lot of money into that as well. That is awesome. And there was another one that I wanted to point out too, that here I have how we talk about what's his name, Dr. Dre with these
the beats.
With the Beats by Dre, and supposedly he just was going to be a billionaire or something after
the payout.
Right, after the payout.
He's not quite going to make billionaire, but he'll be close. He'll be like around $700-800 million. That will be his net worth.
Yeah, like I could complain about that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'll take it.
Right. You want to
I'll turn that up.
Right.
I will turn that up. So yeah, Dr. Dre has gotten the great big payout. He only owned 25% of that company.
Only 25%.
Only 25%.
Well, there was a gentleman here by the name of James West, and he was born in 1931 in Prince Edward County, Virginia, and he studied physics at Temple University, and he specialized in microphones. And he went on to author 200 patents in more than 60 technical and scientific publications. In 1962, with Gerhard, West developed the foil electric microphone, which became the industry standard. Approximately 90% of microphones in use today are based on this invention, and almost all telephones use it, as well as tape recorders, camcorders, baby monitors, and hearing aids. And I say that to say, okay, we talk about Dr. Dre and Beats. If it wasn't for that man,
there would be no
Beats.
Beats. Yes.
Okay. So I mean, when everybody's running around paying $300-400 for Beats, I wonder how much goes to this guy. How much credit?
Not much.
Right.
Yes.
So I think we need to really go back and say,
thank you.
We wouldn't be having this conversation.
No, we would not.
Okay, with technology. So I just wanted to put a few of those facts and say, did you know that sometimes before we start to pay homage and turn up at today, we need to look back into yesterday to see how did we get to where we are now.
Yes.
So did you know how you got here? Sometimes we need to take a look at that. And I'll end my segment with something that I wrote, and it says, did you know you are stronger than you think? An ant can lift in some cases 100 times their weight. Now, for an average person, we wouldn't ordinarily be able to perform this task. However, we don't have to. Sometimes we just need to move ourselves. Whatever is weighing you down, make a decision to release it. Did you know you have the power and the authority to move? Whether it be a job, a relationship, a friendship, a relocation, or just to change your appearance or your style. Did you know success is failure? Try it again. So don't envy or begrudge or dwell too long on someone else's blessing. Everyone's story doesn't start at the point you see them. You have no idea what they went through to get there. Their blessing is for them. Yours is for you. And when it's time for yours, be ready to receive it. Did you know that if you plant your seeds today, you may or may not reap your own harvest? What I mean is that your harvest you reap and have reaped is due to seeds sown by someone else. I believe that where there is a vision, God will make a provision. See it, breathe it, and soon you will live it. Did you know that opportunity really does knock more than once? You just have to listen with more than your ears. You must incline your heart and your soul. And sometimes it comes from the most unlikely of sources. Did you know it is truly better to give than to receive? Be the lender, not the borrower. If you can give, that means you have more than, and you are blessed, and you are in abundance. Not necessarily your money, but your time and your talent. Did you know that your thoughts are so powerful they can and will get you into and out of trouble? Don't allow your mind to imprison you, but rather free you and empower you to reach beyond your limits. Did you know that those things you grew up believing? I can be a doctor, a lawyer, a school teacher, a police officer, even president. Those things are true. It's never too late. Did you know you are your child's first mentor, role model? Lead by example. Did you know that forgiveness is a decision, not an emotion? Release that thing or person from your spirit. Sometimes all you can do is forgive yourself, and that's the God of your understanding to empower you to be better and not bitter. Did you know that we have the power to change the world we live in? Did you know? Well, I hope you've enjoyed my segment of Did You Know? Because I felt that there's a lot of things that we don't know. And if we live long enough, we'll learn some things. And some things are going to knock us down. But if we have that hope and that faith, I know that God will pick us back up. And I just want to leave you with this. If you didn't know, I hope that after today's show, you leave knowing that now we all can know. What do you think?
I think that was powerful, and I hope a lot of people received it, because I know.
What I like is that before this was even done, I never knew we were going to go where we went today. And I just want to say that, did you know you're stronger than you think? You never thought 10 years ago, before this even happened with your brother, that you could go through this.
You're right. I didn't know.
You didn't know.
I didn't know, but I do now.
Right. Right. Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm so glad to have met you and to have had you on our show this evening. You know, and I just want to say to everyone out there that's listening that whatever your situation is, whatever, you know, whatever your struggle, whatever you're facing, that you can come through it. And I think that Noelle and Roy Jr. and their family, they're a living testament that regardless of what's happening, if you stay the course, whether it's 9 days or 9 years, that if you keep that faith and you know that you're not guilty and you know that there's more to your circumstance and your situation, that you just have to stay the course and just do those things necessary, that it's going to work out in your favor. Would you agree?
I totally agree. That's what keeps me going.
Right. Right. And that's good. That's good. I think that's real good. And we lost Heidi, but I'm sure if she was still on the line, she would agree with us as well. And Dawn Michelle and Sayeri would also agree. But, you know, before we close out, there was another story that I had read earlier this week, and it happened on the 20th. It was a young couple in Chicago. And back in January, there were a 19-year-old young girl and a 22-year-old young man. And they were the parents of 2 young children. And the baby was 7 months old. I think they had another little girl that was maybe a few years old. And they are now under arrest as of last Friday for the death of their 7-month-old. Wow. And I read the story and they said they starved the child. So as soon as you read it, you're like, oh, they're horrible parents. They're horrible parents. But again, we can't judge. So I read it. I said they starved the baby. I said, well, how did they do that? Well, they say they starved the child because they was only giving the child water, cereal, and baby food.
You know what babies eat?
Right, but they said they stopped giving the baby formula for 2 months. So I said, well, was it that they just didn't know any better?
Or they couldn't afford it?
Right. And supposedly their WIC expired.
Wow.
And they said that they were giving the baby the water, the milk, the baby food, and cereal. So my thing is, are they really guilty of murder, or they just didn't know?
Wow.
So this is another case of, if it was another, it leads me to think, okay, if it was another young
couple,
would they be going to jail 5 months later for homicide?
No.
Do you think? What do you think?
That sounds like it was an accident.
And then they went further into the story to say, well, they lived in a basement apartment. Okay, what does that have to do, as the media reports?
That's what they could afford.
And they said, well, they had an opportunity to move upstairs. Now I start saying, well, is it the media that makes this bad?
Sometimes.
You know, are they at fault for it? I just couldn't get that. And so I began to read more, and I really want to follow the story because I don't understand. Maybe it's just training. Maybe because they're young parents, they really didn't have that guidance that they needed. Maybe that's the difference. But if they were affluent and they left the baby somewhere else because they just didn't want it, or they were hiding it from their parents, what would be the defense then if they starved it because they hid it out in the shed?
Right.
But they were given the baby, and they said, well, the baby was smaller than it should have been. But okay, well, who was checking on them?
Right. When children raise children, sometimes that's one of the unfortunate outcomes.
Exactly. So I'll be following that story. And that just led me to think, again, is it because of, is there a difference? Is there inequality because of the color? You know, and I'll be the first one to argue, you know, sometimes we bring things on ourselves, but in that instance, is there justice? You know, and you know, I think about, we have 50 states, and we have 50 different laws, though.
Right.
Each state has a different law. We are the United States, but there's nothing united about our laws.
No, not at all.
You know, you got a 55 speed limit in New York. You got a 75 speed limit in Georgia. And I learned the hard way in South Carolina, the speed limit is not 90. I learned the hard way. But seriously,
yeah.
You know, right. My mind was somewhere else. But, you know, again, we're the United States, but our laws are anything but united.
It's the United Divided States.
You know, so again, you know, 50 states, 50 sets of laws. And
Right.
it just leads me to wonder. And there's one other story that I found interesting. A young man in Texas, oddly enough, 19 years old, selling marijuana out of his home, making brownies, marijuana brownies.
Okay.
With hash oil. I really don't know what hash oil is because
That's a did you know? I don't know.
Did you know that hash oil is like ecstasy, and 4 grams of hash oil is equivalent to a felony? But he had 145 grams of hash oil.
Was that a white guy?
Yes, it was. He's 19 years old, and he has the potential to go to jail for 5 years to life.
They're going to lean toward the 5.
Wait a minute. His dad is screaming, I am a Vietnam vet. I am a conservative. What does that have to do anything with your son being a drug dealer?
And his hash oil.
Right. And he said it was only marijuana.
With hash oil.
With 145 grams
of hash oil.
And his neighbors called in on him and said he was selling marijuana. He was found with about $1,500 in cash, marijuana brownies, and
hash oil.
Right. And 4 grams of it had been mixed up for the brownies. But then upon further investigation, there was found 145 grams. So my question is, okay, so you have 145 grams of hash oil, and then they tried to explain how that would be equivalent to amounts of cocaine, and
right.
I'm thinking, well, this is a major felony.
Yeah, absolutely.
So based
Sounds
upon
like
4 grams being a felony, if you have 145
yeah.
grams,
yeah,
well, heck, he can go to jail for life, for real.
Yeah, seriously.
And the prosecutor says, but I don't think I'm going to seek that sentence for him.
Of course not.
But some states, if I'm riding in a car with somebody who has a joint, I'm just as guilty. I'm going to jail longer.
Yes.
You know, I've heard of guys, you know, in a car with drugs, and the girl goes to jail longer than the guy does.
Yes.
So I just want somebody, I wish somebody could explain to me, how does that work?
That's a great question, and I'm not sure about the answer, but I have another question. if this young man is living at his parents' house.
Oh no, he was in his own apartment.
Oh, okay.
He was
okay,
he was in his own apartment.
I'm like, I don't know how you don't, live with somebody and they don't know you have, what you're doing, and some hash oil.
Right,
yeah, and you're cooking brownies that are suspect.
Because dad was probably having the brownies.
Right.
Right. Because dad probably was having some of the brownies, but the dad was just outraging, and I don't think the dad was so much outraged about the fact that it was a little bit of marijuana. He just felt that he shouldn't be charged, and said they also found digital scales in there, dozen of baggies with the marijuana, and I'm thinking, really? And he's out on bond.
Well, you know what?
How does that work?
I look at it this way. Had it only been marijuana, then that's something that's arguable, because it looks like, the country finally is taking the right direction by beginning to decriminalize marijuana and make it legal in certain states.
That's
that's arguable. He could have stood on that, but because he had the hash oil, I don't know about that.
And his father saying, I'm a law-abiding citizen. Well, you are, but your son's not. How about that?
Right. He had hash oil.
Right.
That's our word for it today. Hash oil.
Takeaway. Did you know? And I'm just, and that's another question for another show. Do you think because of the legalization of marijuana, do you think that, that should be done in every state?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's going to be a good show.
Yes, it is.
Wow, that leaves me speechless. Okay, well, we want to thank you, Noelle Adams, for coming on this evening, for sharing your personal story. Again, we ask you guys to go out there to justice4royjr.com. Please read the story, sign a petition, join the fight. We really, really ask you to do that. We want to thank you, Attorney Regina Nunnaly, for calling in, for sharing with us, for giving us your insight. We thank you so very much. We want to thank you, Heidi, also for calling in. We know that you're traveling for work, and we appreciate you. Dawn, Michelle, and Sairi, if you're out there listening, we thank you also. Also want to thank you, our listeners out there, for tuning in to A Queen's Eye View on Thursdays. Thank you so very much. We hope you've enjoyed the show this evening. We ask you to tune back in. I'm Shay, and we'll get back at you soon. Have a good night.